Hello, everybody. My name is Steve Mills, and welcome to Results Mastery and a seminar that I'm delivering, which is all about how to double the number of leads and indeed sales that you create in the next 90 days. Now, you may think that's a big statement to make, and it may or may not be possible for you. I'm not here telling you, yes, if you attend this seminar, then you can do it. Depends how much effort you put in, and depends whether you follow my tried, tested, and proven system to achieve those results. But what I can tell you is that for over 30 years now, I've been helping businesses to make significant increases in the number of leads they create and in their conversion rate of those leads into sales, helping them to make more money more easily, more often. And I've done that working with over 10,000 businesses. Not all of them as ongoing clients. Some of them are people who've attended my events and seminars and so on and so forth. But certainly people that I've helped. Now, I will also, in the interest of honesty, tell you that not all of them have done that. Some of them have come to a day's seminar, and then when I phone them up 6 weeks later, they tell me, oh, well, I've been busy. No, I've not really done anything, Steve. And we all know of people who do something like they join a gym and then they go along for the first couple of weeks. And then 6 months later, we find that they've not been for 3 months. So they don't turn up at that sales and marketing gym and work on their craft of increasing sales and leads. And that's really what this is all about. It's about development of a system, of a process that if you follow it, if you take action, and I don't mean a little bit of action, I'm talking about significant amount of action and effort, then you will grow your business. Now, you can do that either on your own, you can do it with my advice and help and encouragement along the way, or you can even outsource that to us and we'll do it for you. Either way is absolutely fine. So if you want to find out about any of that, go to my website, which you can see on my wall behind me, results-mastery.com. Get yourself signed up to a meeting, and I look forward to speaking to you there. These are no obligation. They're on Zoom. There's no hard sell. It's just me helping you with your marketing and your business, demonstrating my expertise. And at the end of it, if you want any more help, you can tell me what you need me to do, and I'll tell you how much it's going to cost you. It's as simple as that. I hope that sounds fair. I think it does to me. So let me start the seminar then. So I'm just going to share my screen. I'm also going to just bear with me a second. I just need to open the slides up and stuff like that. So just bear with me. Sorry, you missed out on my new slide that I got AI to do. I can't miss out on that, so let me show you. Here we go. I can tell you're going to be very impressed. There you go. Wasn't that worth waiting for? I say that very tongue in cheek, but yeah, just got AI to do that. I think it's really cool how we can use AI now. I'm a big advocate of it. I'm a big believer in it. I also believe, that AI is it's an interesting thing, isn't it? We hear lots of scaremongering about AI and what it will do for us, and how it's going to change the world and take all our jobs and ruin our businesses and so on. But I actually believe the truth is that it's not that AI will do this, but somebody who knows how to use AI definitely could. And there's a big difference there. So what my message is to kick off today is we need to start to use and understand how to use AI, because most people listening to this will know AI and they'll probably use it. But the truth of the matter is they're probably using less than 10% of the capability of whatever AI you use. One other thing I would just like to say about AI is don't try and master all of it. Just find one or two different AI systems and focus on those. Really get to, dig deep, get to know exactly everything it will do, and you won't regret that, I think. You won't regret that piece of advice. So let's look at the event. So the events for you, if you're generating leads but not consistently, it's a little bit hit and miss, you're unsure which marketing activities, where your leads are coming from, you're getting leads but it's not going as well as you would like, you feel you're doing lots but you can't see a clear ROI, return on investment. I hear so often people telling me, well, I'm on LinkedIn and I'm doing, I'm putting some effort in, but I'm not really getting a return on investment. And other people will tell me things like, well, yeah, LinkedIn's going great. I get, every time I do a post, I get over 500 views and 50 likes. Let me tell you, you can't stick that in the bank, and if you want to do better, then, you need to think about that and how you can use that. Sorry, I've just clicked off where I was. Let me just move that away again if I can. I'm going to stop my share and then I'm going to go in again, and I'm a bit of a nightmare. I do apologize. Hang on. Here we go. Let's just get it back to you here. Okay, we're back. So you want clarity, you want structure, you want confidence in your marketing, you're serious about growth, and you want predictable, not stressful marketing in your business, then this is the place to be. I promise you, you're going to really benefit from today. So a little bit about me. 30 years experience, as I've already mentioned. Over 10,000 clients. My biggest client that I ever got in terms of helping them, their largest win was a client who made £46 million. I definitely didn't charge them enough. I really didn't. I should have been on commission, but there we go. The average growth of my clients within 12 months of working with me, if you're on one of my programs, is 45%. 45% growth. How would that be? Would you be able to pay me a few £100 per month in order to grow by 45%? I suspect you would. It's just whether you believe that or not. So hopefully by the end of it, you will. Why most marketing fails? Well, there are many reasons, clearly. I've listed a few there. I'm not going to go through them, but you can no doubt read them. I really do believe that all marketing works, but it doesn't work all the time. It can work some of the time, but it doesn't work all of the time. And if it doesn't work, there are loads of reasons. They're just a few of them. It could be anything to do with, the actions you're taking, the fact that you're not doing enough of it, the headline's wrong, the target market's wrong, the timing's out, the words you're using is not as good as they could be, the use of picture, the use of video. Is it better to do it on video or on, the written word? Excuse me, and so on and so forth. And a big one actually is that the marketing is not followed up. And if it is followed up, it's not followed up quickly enough. Speed stuns. A lead comes in and we follow it up straight away. A friend of mine says if it's older than 2 minutes, then that's not good enough. So when that lead comes in, we need to follow up straight away. So there's another important tip for you. So here's a question for you. if your marketing results stayed exactly the same for the next 12 months, would you be happy? Well, if the answer's no, and I'm assuming it is, as you're on a seminar all about how to double your inquiry rate, then we've got to do something, haven't you? You know, the old saying, I think it was the definition of insanity that Einstein said, is doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result. That's what Einstein said insanity was, you know, and yet I see so many businesses, you know, really struggling, you know, and I hear that 80% of businesses that start every year go bust within 5 years. Now, that is an alarming statistic. That is terrible. And yet it is a fact. So we need to make sure that we're going to do something different. I hope it's with me. I hope it's me helping you on an ongoing basis on one of my programs. But if it's not, make sure it's somebody else and get some help. Because, you know, the bottom line is, as a business owner, you're an expert in whatever it is your business does. You know, you might be a solicitor, so you're an expert at that, or an accountant, you're an expert at that, or a coach, you're an expert at life coaching, for example, or tennis coaching, or whatever it is you do. If you repair cars, you're an expert at that. You're not an expert, probably, at marketing that, whatever that is for you. Does that make sense? I'm hallucinating that you're saying it does. Now, this is something I picked up from a guy called Jordan Belfont. Now, you might have heard that name, but can't quite remember who it is. He's the guy that was the Wolf of Wall Street. You know the film, Leonardo DiCaprio? He was the original, the actual guy who was the wolf. So he clearly did some, you know, pretty bad things, you know, non-ethical things and things that no doubt he regretted, particularly as he spent several years in jail. He then came out, reinvented himself, and calls himself one of the world's leading sales trainers, because that's what he did, isn't it? Really, he trained all those Stratonites to sell really, really hard. He doesn't necessarily condone that right now, but this is one of the things that in the training that I bought from him probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago now. And it's something I really do believe in. And that is this: people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. However, it's not just about getting people to know, like, and trust you. They've also got to know, like, and trust your company. And then they've got to know, like, and trust your products and services. You know, if it might be that, you know, I know, like, and trust Apple, but the new Apple Watch that's come out, I don't really understand why I need it. Are you with me? I like Apple, and you're the sales guy in the Apple shop, and you seem a nice person. I like you. I know you, like you, trust you to some level, but I don't know, like, and trust the product that you're trying to sell me. And that's where things can sometimes break down. So that's the objective. And I'm going to show you today how to get more people to know, like, and trust you. So, and I'm going to do that through my results 6-step process, which I'll show you in a couple of minutes. So these are the things we're going to cover. Okay, I'm not going to go through them because it take too long, and I'm going to cover them anyway, so you'll know all about them. But that's what we're going to cover in the next, it's just less than 45 minutes now, isn't it? So know exactly who you're targeting. That's number one. You know, we've got to know what is our target market. And it's no use saying, well, it's small businesses. You know, well, it's, you know, people, it's people within, you know, on the Isle of Wight, which is where I'm based. No, it's not everybody. The more niched you can be, Let me just give you an example. If I came to you, let's say that you're a solicitor, right? That's your job. You're a solicitor. And I came to you and I said, hi, I'm Steve Mills, and I help small businesses to make more profit and improve their lead generation and lead conversion. Are you interested? That'd be one approach. But if I came to you with approach number 2 and said, hi, I'm Steve Mills. I specialize in the legal industry. I work with solicitors, helping them to make more profit by improving the number of leads they make and then helping them to convert more of those leads into sales or instructions, as solicitors call it. Which one would you be more likely to buy? The answer, I know, is the second one, because this person's a specialist. And would you be more willing to pay a little bit more for somebody who's a specialist in what you need than you would for a generalist? Again, you know the answer to that. So let's look at what we need to do to build a consistent lead generation machine. Firstly, we need to identify the top 3 channels. Yeah, what are you going, are you going to be on LinkedIn, doing email marketing and using YouTube, for example, right? Because, you can't be good at everything. It's like saying, I want to be really good at sport. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play tennis, table tennis, squash, and badminton, and I'm also going to play football and volleyball and basketball. You're going to get what results? You're going to be average, or maybe a little bit above average if you put a lot of effort in and you're very talented at all those sports. But if you're going to be really good, like you're going to be the best in your industry, you need to focus on just a few channels. So whatever that is, it doesn't really matter, because they all work. Facebook works, Instagram works, LinkedIn works, X works, email marketing works, Google advertising works, networking works, referral works, but we need a few of these in order to win more business. So let's think about the top 3. And when we've mastered those, we can then go to another 3 and then another 3 and start building multiple streams of income. Again, I hope that makes sense. We need to, I believe, create a repeatable process to systematize your activity so that it works to the same level again and again. Let me give you an example of how I did that. A little while ago, a guy came to me and said, I got £1,000 a month I want to spend on Facebook advertising. And I said, well, have you got any proof of concept? And he said, no, I'm just going to invest that. So I said, well, why don't we start with £10 a day? So there's a reasonable investment there. It's £300, but it's not £1,000 because we don't know whether it's going to work or not. So we tried it, and we got for every pound he spent of that £300, we got something like, I think we got something like about £1.70 back. So I think we invested 300 and got £470 back. And we thought, well, not too bad, but how can we do better? So what we decided to do is to spend a little bit more, and we improved the headlines, we improved the landing page, we improved the words on the advert, and we tried it again the following week. And we got something like a 2.5% return on investment. So again, we upped it a little bit more. And we worked on the same thing, trying to improve things, changing. We actually changed the headline, and we went from 2.5 to, I think it was 5.5. So we got a massive. So now for every pound he's spending, he's getting £5.50 back. How often would you like to do that? And we're up to about £30, £40 a day by this time. Anyway, without going on and on and on about this, we got into a level where he was spending not £1,000 a month, but £30,000 a month, because he was getting a 12 times return on investment. So I think that's £360,000 a month in income by spending £30 a month. Pretty good deal. And he came to me and he said, "What do you think I should do now?" I said, "Well, do you know what? If I was you, I'd just spend 60 grand. That makes total sense, doesn't it? You know, he got it as good as probably he could get it. So he just put more money into it. So he spent 60 grand, got not quite the double, but nearly double. And he was as happy as could be. And that starts really by setting weekly targets. You know, if you're doing marketing that's not working, do one of two things: either improve it or stop it. You know, there's no point doing, marketing that's, getting my name out there. It's about brand awareness. It's about getting contacts on LinkedIn or people to my website. No, let's leave that to the Coca-Colas and the Nikes of this world, and let's look at weekly targets. Next, use a lead magnet. Offer something up front that people can get, like this. I'm doing a seminar now online. I've got people listening to me. I'm doing a free, providing my expertise in a free way in order to capture and create and attract interest from people who could be my clients. That's why I'm doing it. I'm doing it in the hope that 10% of the people who watch this video will want to hire me to do something for them. It's as simple as that. So with that in mind, make an offer, not make a problem, make an offer they can't refuse. This offer is the engine of your marketing, defined on what is their particular problem. So if their problem is they want to lose weight and they can't do that, or they've not managed to do it so far, identify the problem in your marketing. They're eating too much, they're not exercising enough, or whatever that problem is. Promise a specific result. So what is it that you're going to deliver that's going to make it possible to lose weight, even though they've not done and they've tried on their own what seems like forever, and then prove it. Because anybody can say, "Oh yeah, I can help you do this. I can help you, double your leads in 90 days. Well, prove it. Well, if you go to my website and have a look at my testimonials, I've got a page with over 180, I think it is, testimonials on there. So that's one way I prove that I can do what I can do. And, you need to think about how you can do the same. Okay. Next, turn cold prospects into ready-to-buy clients. One of the keys, I believe, that is often neglected is this idea of keeping in touch with people. People say, "I don't want to bombard people, Steve." No, you're not bombarding them. You're keeping in touch on a regular basis. Let me tell you another quick story. It's about a year ago now. I had this phone call from a lady, and she said to me, "I don't know whether you remember me, but I came along to a seminar that you did in Swindon." I thought to myself, "Swindon? I don't ever recall that." I said, "I'm really sorry." I said, "But I don't remember doing a seminar in Swindon." She said, "Oh, you did. It was about 15 years ago. And you've been marketing to me every week since then, and I'd now like your help." And I thought to myself, wow, that's incredible. 15 years ago, how many emails, how many social media posts has it taken for me to turn her into a client? And what happens often is people drop the ball. an inquiry comes in from your website, you follow it up by a phone call. You then send them an email because you couldn't speak to them. You then follow it up the following day. And then you perhaps send them a WhatsApp or a SMS. And then you follow it up again by phone. And then you send them a final email to say, I've tried you about 4 or 5 times now. And, if you still want any help, please get in touch. What are they doing there? They're dropping the ball before, the result. They're dropping the ball. They're not carrying on, keeping on, keeping on. 80% of sales require 5 or more follow-ups to close. Most businesses give up very early on. They phone, and often, I went, I needed a part for my car, right? And I phoned the main dealer. What happened? They didn't phone back. So I phoned them again. They apologized, said they'll try and source the part for me, and didn't follow up again. So I phoned them again, this time for the 3rd time, and eventually managed to chase them enough so that they, managed to repair my car. Now, whose job is that? Is that my job as a purchaser, or should they be doing this? Am I doing their job for them? I am, because I needed the part. But if I didn't, if I could buy it from elsewhere, then I'd have almost certainly gone there. And I certainly wouldn't, unless I really had to, ever buy from them again. So, think about that and what you're doing there. Utilizing multiple channels, email, LinkedIn, phone, retargeting, which, by the way, is the science of advertising to the people who are already looking at your website, which you can do through Google if you didn't know that. So stay top of the mind so that when people are ready to buy, they think of you. That is really, really key. Another quick story, solicitor that I worked with when I moved house once. I moved about 200 miles, and when I come to move again, I thought, I'm going to get in touch with Richard. He was a really good guy, got on great with him. We were on first name terms, great solicitor, did a great job. And I thought, what was his last name? What was the company? It was about 7 years later. I'd never heard anything from him, even though we got on fantastically well. He never came back to me. He never offered to redo my wills, or my will rather. And, there was no communication from him at all. 7 years later, the only thing I could remember about him was that he was called Richard. And he lost out probably over the next 15 years. I moved a couple of times, so I think he got like, I don't know, £1,000 and lost out on about 5, 6, 7 grand that he'd have probably got from me, plus any testimonials and so on and so forth. So really, really powerful, this. Convert more leads into paying clients. It's one of the quickest, easiest things you can do. Convert more of your leads. If you're currently converting 4 out of 10, and you converted 6 out of 10, which is only 20% more, that would equal a 50% growth in your business, because 6 out of 10 is 50% more than 4 out of 10. Does that make sense? If you think about it, it does. I know it's only a 20% improvement, so we only need to become a little bit better at selling by developing a sales process, by developing your sales skills. But if you could go from 40% conversion to 60% conversion, that's a 50% growth in your business. One of the quickest, easiest ways of growing your business, creating more leads, but more importantly, in a way, converting more of those leads into paying clients, is to become better at selling. Excuse me. Okay. Measure everything. I go on and on and on to my clients and the people that I meet. You cannot manage what you do not measure. And yet so many businesses don't do this. You know, how many leads did you get last month? Where did they come from? How many people visited your website? How many LinkedIn messages did you get out? How many phone calls did you make? These are all really important key performance indicators for your business. The bigger picture ones are things like once you know how many leads you got, how many of those did you turn into meetings? How many of those meetings did you turn into sales? What was your average unit of sale? How long do people stay with you once they've bought from you? Are you a one-off hit like maybe a solicitor is? Or are you an accountant where you get the money every month on an ongoing basis until they die or buy or change, you know, sell their business or whatever? You know, there's different industries, different ways of doing things, and making sure that you measure everything within your business is absolutely vital to your success, in my opinion. So these are the 6 steps. I've been talking about different things so far, trying to really help you, trying to add some real value. And now I want to talk to you about the 6 steps of business growth. This is something that I've sort of developed over the years. And it comes down to 6 things. I'm going to talk about them on the next slide, not go through them now, but you can see there a nice graphic showing you where we go from starting off, working through that sales cycle till we get people to a level where they're communicating with you, they're turning them into meetings, and then you're turning those meetings into sales. So let's go through the first 3 to start with. One of the biggest problems that 99% of small businesses face is obscurity. You know, if you're Apple or Nike or Vodafone or Coca-Cola or one of those big worldwide companies, you know, overcoming obscurity is not really a problem to you. You're probably known by most people in the world. If you're a small business, and whether that's a national business, a regional business, or even a local business, if you, I don't know, clean carpets in Newbury, and in Newbury there are 30,000 houses, and you've got a database of emails of past customers and prospects, and on that you've got 1,000 of them. That means 29,000 of the 30,000 are not hearing from you. That's a problem. We've got, you know, and if you're UK wide, you know, that's a problem. So the question is, how many people can you send a marketing message out to right now? For me, out of interest, it's about 150,000, which ain't bad, but you know, it's a small reflection. You know, one of the areas I do business in is Dubai, and you know, the Middle East I've worked in extensively over the years. But if you ask me how many contacts have I got over there, the answer would be not enough. So I need to be constantly working on developing that side of my business. I live, as I mentioned, on the Isle of Wight. And I can tell you now, I've got more clients abroad, as in other countries, than I've got on the Isle of Wight. What's that about? Well, I've only just moved here, so I'm not built my reputation here at the moment anywhere near as well as I can. So I need to do that. In an ideal world, I'd need to know how many potential clients I've got on the island, and then I need to start marketing to those people. And once I've done that, once I've got connected to them, perhaps they connect to me on LinkedIn, for example, and then I've got to go to system 2, and that is consistent communication. Communicating with them on an ongoing basis, building my reputation, getting them to know, like, and trust me, and so on and so forth. So that's really the first phase, if you like, finding new people, communicating with them consistently, developing and building your reputation, your brand, and getting to a level where they know, like, and trust you. Perhaps they recommend you Perhaps they'll buy more from you as we go through this process. So if that's the first three, this is the second three. The second three is we start getting communication back from them. So somebody connects to me on LinkedIn, I start then marketing to them. I perhaps send them a video in a little link in an email. I send them a message. I pick up the phone and call them. And so it's all coming from me, though. It's a little bit like in a relationship. You know, if I wanted to attract a particular woman, if I wasn't married, which I am, but if I did, you know, I might communicate more than once. You know, I might communicate 2, 3, or 4 times, maybe more than that, maybe 8, 10, 12 times, without wishing to be like a stalker. But I want to build my relationship with this person. Once I've done that, and this lady starts communicating back to me, she perhaps phone me or email me or WhatsApp me. That's when, excuse me, got a bit of a coffee. Feeling a bit dry. Let me just have a little drink of fairly cold coffee. That might be better. So we get that two-way communication. Next, we're going to turn that goodwill, that relationship, into meetings. So I've got to get from a dating point of view, I've got to get my first date, haven't I? Got to, you know, take her out for a drink or a meal or to an event or whatever. And in business, we've got to get that first meeting. And that might be an event. It might be coming to an event like this. It might be a one-to-one. It might be going to a networking event. I could phone a bunch of prospects and say, hi, I'm going to the Newport Chamber of Commerce this evening. If you want to come along, it'd be great to meet up. I can get you some introductions and things like that. So we're building that reputation, that feeling by hopefully then getting a meeting. Now, once you're in a meeting, in a business sense, I'm talking about a more formal meeting where you're meeting somebody, perhaps on Zoom, perhaps you're having a conversation on the phone. That could be a meeting, but obviously the best way of doing it is in person. You know, pressing some flesh, as they say, shaking hands with somebody and meeting them in person is arguably, actually, I don't even think it's arguably, is almost certainly the best way of meeting someone. So if that's the case, and I believe it is, we then need to be good at that. Because that's the ultimate. I mentioned a few minutes ago, if you could go from 4 out of 10 to 6 out of 10 in terms of conversion, you maximize and grow your business by 50%. However, the true lifetime value is also incredibly important, as is the number of referrals that you could get from each client going forward. You know, so somebody could, my longest running client at the moment has been with me over 10 years. They pay me a monthly fee for 10 years. That's pretty good, certainly as a consultant. And we do a great job for them, and they're growing their business. And you know, why would they leave? Because, you know, we're helping them to grow. So, you know, that's the truth. So there we go. So they're the 6 ways of growing a business. Now, as part of this, if you got this far, you're going to get rewarded because you deserve it. I've been going a little time now. So what you're going to get is a free one-to-one meeting. I value that in my time at £250. So you can go to my website and you can book a free one-to-one meeting with me. Secondly, if you contact me and tell me that you've got to hear the free bonuses, and ask me to do a marketing audit of your website, and you send me a link to that website, then that is exactly what I'll do. Now, the audit is a video marketing audit. So in other words, I'm going to go onto your website and I'm going to tell you honestly what I think to it, what needs to improve, what needs to change. I'll do that for you. valued at £197. I'm also going to suggest to you that you go to my website, click on free advice, go down to the marketing assessment tool and put your numbers in, and it will produce a report for you in terms of your marketing and what you need to improve. So it will give you a report on your key performance indicators. Now, when it tells you things like, you said, well, we're converting 3 out of 10, they'll probably rate that as fairly low and suggest some things that you need to do in order to improve the conversion rate. Okay. And then the other thing for people who are not watching live right now is I'll send you this full recording, which I value loosely at £47. Probably worth, I mean, that would be the cost if you went to buy it. But what's it worth? Could be worth over 100 grand to you, this, if you take action based on it. Okay. 90-day marketing growth plan. Starts off first 30 days. Define your ideal client. Choose your top 3 lead generation channels. Build your lead magnet and capture system. Next, launch your email sequences. If you need help with that, I use, sell and endorse what I believe is the world's #1 digital marketing platform. It's called High Level. We've white labeled it and we call it the Results Mastery Hub. If you want to know about that, book a meeting with me and I can talk to you and show you how it works. Implement your conversion call process. So develop your skills on the phone. Get on that phone and make calls. The more people you speak to, the more money will end up in your pocket or in your bank account. Set up a weekly tracking dashboard. So you're going to track and measure things on a weekly basis. Optimize, review your metrics and identify what's working and what's not. How much business have you won from LinkedIn in the last 60 days? Because if you've not won any, you're doing something wrong. You need to improve that. And by the way, if you did decide you wanted to improve it, I've got something called LinkedIn Mastery, which is part of my Mastery University program, where you can get trained in LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, email marketing, website marketing, SEO, paid advertising, you name it. There's loads and loads of courses, including about 250 10-minute videos for you to learn from over a period of time. And you can sign up to that anytime you want. And that would definitely be something that I would recommend. Cut out what isn't working ruthlessly. If it's not working, either do something about it or stop doing it. It's as simple as that, and people tell me all the time. I had a guy recently who said, oh, yeah, you ought to come to my networking event. It's really good. Yeah, everybody does really well. It's great. I said, oh, right. Yeah, fantastic. Sounds good. This was on the Isle of Wight, by the way. I said, great. Yeah. I said, so how long have you been a member? Oh, I've been a member for about a year now. All right. Okay. So how much business have you won? Anyway, well, I've not won any business yet, but, I'm sure I will. And it's not really the people in the room. It's the people that they know that. And I went, well, how many leads have you got? Oh, I've had a couple. I said, so you've been turning up there every week, 52 weeks, eating a breakfast at £10 a go. It's taken you probably 2 to 3 hours by the time you've got there, got back, eaten your breakfast, done your 1-minute presentation and so on, and you've had 2 leads and no business. And you're telling me it's great? I said to him, I'm telling you, you shouldn't be doing it anymore. Either that or you need to get better at it. Because what's working at the moment, or what you're doing at the moment is not working. It's as simple as that. So I sent him off with his, just not quite as impressed with it as he thought he was. Okay. Couple of testimonials there. I could show you a load more. I've got hundreds of them. And that's an important thing. I say that not to impress you, but to impress upon you. You know, like, and trust. How do you trust somebody? Well, I could tell you all day about how great I am and how much money I can help you. And you think, well, Steve would say that, wouldn't he? Because he's trying to sell me something, which is true. But if you could read what other people say, or you could listen to what other people say on video, it is 10 times more powerful, in my opinion. So that, I think, is really important. So if you're ready to double your leads in the next 90 days, here's what to do. Go to my website right now, which is results-mastery.com. Click on one of the gold buttons to book your one-to-one with me. Do it now, right? Block it in your diary because it's a really important thing. And prepare any questions. What do you want to ask me? You know, if you've got a website that's not working, you might want to ask me about that. If you're doing LinkedIn but not really winning much business, you might want to ask me about that. If you're winning loads of leads, but they're not converting, you need to ask me about that, and so on and so forth. So don't just turn up there expecting me to have all the answers if you've not got the questions. So you might want to think of, I don't know, half a dozen questions that you want to ask me, and I'll do my best to help you. And when we've done that, if you want to ask me a final question, that would be, how can you help me more, Steve? Then I'll tell you about that and what it'll cost. And there'll be no hard sell, I promise. Okay, that's just about it. Thank you for being here. Let's turn marketing into real results. Results Mastery website. Connect to me on LinkedIn by all means. If you want to email me, it's steve@resultsmastery.com. Thanks ever so much for listening, and I look forward to speaking to you next time. Thank you.